my intentions for this 30-day dopamine detox. It all started with just an idea. And with all transparency, this idea came from my brother. He had the intention to try to stop using all the drugs that he's using for 30 days. And that's including weed, alcohol, and caffeine, in addition to sugar and semen retention. Now, for me, I had to take into consideration what his idea was. And I thought about it, and I kept thinking about it, and I said, finally, okay, I'm going to do it. Okay. The idea for me, my intention is to start off the new year strong, show myself that I'm capable of doing something that I was never previously going to consider before. There's all these attachments that I have in my life to caffeine, to weed, to sex. And I think it was time for me to learn to live without some of these attachments. Now, I'll go into more detail through the course of this video, and I'll explain to you what I did, how long I went, how many days I went without each, and where I'm at right now, and what my current space of thinking is. So thank you for watching this little intention beginning, and let's bring it to the next one. Woo! The first one I'm going to start with is caffeine. Most people don't know this, but 90% of Americans drink a caffeinated beverage every single day. Now, I wouldn't drink coffee every day, but I was pretty damn close to it. Okay, I would drink coffee maybe 5 or 6 days out of the week. So that one day, maybe it's not even doing that much. Maybe it gives me just a little bit for my body to adjust to not having caffeine intake. But this one was definitely the hardest one for me to quit. And it wasn't because so much of the withdrawal symptoms. It was more because of my attachment to the taste of coffee and the feeling I would get while drinking it, and afterwards as well. That energy gave me that stimulation. And I first started that journey, the first week was really tough. I felt a little bit more fatigued. My energy levels were low. I didn't have any crazy headaches that just came on out of the blue, but it was something to take note of, that I didn't have consistent energy level throughout the day. And I really wanted coffee. I just really wanted it. And as I move forward in my 30-day streak here, 2 weeks in, I started to feel a little bit better about it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, it never gets easy, especially if you developed a dependence to the beverage itself. Because a lot of people, they just drink it purely for the stimulation of that caffeine, which is fine by you, okay? I'm not going to judge anybody for that, but I love the taste of coffee, okay? So it's really that feeling of sipping that coffee on a winter day to warm me up in my spirits. That was honestly the hardest part for me. So 3 weeks in, I feel better. My energy levels are more consistent. 4 weeks in, I'm feeling like it's okay. Like I don't need any coffee. I don't need caffeine. But still, every day, the thought does creep in my head. What if, what if I just said, fine, let's just have a coffee. Right now, it's day 32 of no caffeine. And that includes tea, coffee, kombucha, anything that has any slight bit of caffeine. And now I'm here, I'm standing, I'm still alive. I am living proof that it's possible, that you can do it. If I can do it, I believe you can too. Weed. Now, weed, something that I've considered giving up on for probably the last 5 months. And it was really around the time when I partook on a magic mushroom journey in the time of August, where I released a lot of grief from things I went through in my relationship with my girlfriend that were caused by my own bad habits. But I was grieving that guilt and shame of what I've done, and also trying to release what no longer serves me. And ever since that point, I have had a cognitive dissonance when smoking weed or consuming it edibly every single time. And granted, I have, before this dopamine detox, I have gone on 1 to 2 week streaks essentially without it, but then I would always arrive back to a point where I found myself smoking again. But every time it never felt enjoyable. Almost every time, maybe 1 out of 10 was kind of enjoyable, but it would trigger that anxiety, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Do I really need to? And I'm at the point now where weed may be something, after the 33 days that I've been going without it, maybe something that I might not do for a long time. Who knows? I could go 2 months, 3 months, but I don't want to identify as a person that smokes weed anymore, because that's not who I am. It's somebody I was in the past, and I used this substance to escape from the intricacies of life. And maybe there's some of you guys that use it in the same way too, and you have to think to yourself, why am I using this? Is it benefiting me? Is it? Because if it is, then go for it. That's totally okay. But if you can't answer that question for yourself, then there's more digging that you need to do. And weed, for me, is something that I don't think makes my life any better. It just causes more complacency, causes me to be in my own head more. And I'm not about that. I'm committed to a life of discipline and learning and growing. And that takes hard work. There's a lot of work that's involved with that, which is the whole idea behind trying to start off the new year like this. Semen retention. Now, this one was the only one out of this group that I failed. But hear me out. I have a girlfriend, okay? So don't get on me because I failed, because I did learn something from this process. And I learned that I don't need to have sex all the time, and I don't need to worry all that much about ejaculating every time I have sex, okay? It's about the experience of being with your partner. That's what matters the most, enjoying that experience with them. So, with that, the first 10 days, I was doing great. And I got to day 11, and I accidentally released that seed. And I felt a little guilty about it, not going to lie. But then 7 days later, I felt like I couldn't hold it in anymore. I just really, really wanted her. And I didn't feel guilty about it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a normal human experience to feel all those feelings towards your significant other. So, long story short, about halfway through my 30 days of semen retention, I gave up on it. But there's reasons behind that, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I feel like I learned what I needed to. Alcohol. Now, alcohol, strangely, was one of those ones that was a little bit more difficult for me. Not because I have this attachment to it or I feel the need to do it, but because sometimes having a casual 1 or 2 drinks every now and then is fun. And I don't feel like alcohol has ever been an issue for me at all. So I think that the occasional use every couple of weeks is fine as long as you don't overdo it. I think anything more than 3 drinks is too much. I mean, that's really just my opinion, but it's all about the casual experience and enjoying the taste and the experience of drinking. I don't like drinking just for the sole reason to get drunk or just to catch that buzz, because then you're missing the purpose of enjoying the drink and being casual about it and enjoying your time with whoever you're with. Because for me, I don't really believe in drinking alone. I think it's better served with other people. And this one, I think the reason why it was a little bit difficult at times was because of the NFL playoffs. So I think going out, watching some of these 49ers games, I wanted to maybe have a drink or two and maybe to enjoy myself celebrating with my girlfriend over her going on a move the other week. I wanted to maybe celebrate that with a drink, but I chose against it. So there's a few instances where I chose to say no to a drink, whether that was me putting the pressure on myself or somebody else. But really, it is something that I don't really need to live with alcohol, but at the same time, I don't feel the need to completely abstain from that. Now, that's really a subjective thing to you as a viewer. Think to yourself, what is your relationship with alcohol? What do you use it for? If you have a clear answer, great. If you think you don't have any issues with it, great. Okay? But if you can't really answer that question, then maybe there's more digging you need to do. And I encourage you to think, why? Okay? What is it that I'm trying to escape from, or what is it that I'm using alcohol for? Obviously, at the end of the day, it's to feel better in that moment. But you really got to dig deeper and ask why and what is it for. The last one here is sugar, okay? So with sugar, I essentially cut out all dessert and pastries. Now, I didn't cut out all forms of sugar. I feel like that would just be too extreme. But I did cut out all dessert, all pastries, and there was definitely some temptations to have a dessert or a pastry along the way. But it's been 33 days. And I'm still standing here. I'm alive. My energy levels are higher. I sleep better. With no sugar, no caffeine, no weed, no alcohol. All these things are just temptations. Okay? Temptations into something to sometimes fill the void. Now, is the occasional use all right? Yeah, of course. But if it's a frequent use, you gotta ask yourself, why? What is it that you're using it for? Is it to fill some type of void? Is there some emotion that you're attaching yourself to, or some emotion that you're trying to escape from or avoid? So answer that question, okay? I encourage you. There's a lot of tough things that you have to ask yourself on the road to finding yourself more and on the road to practicing more discipline. You have to answer that why. What's important to you? What do you value? Where do you envision yourself when you think of the best version of yourself? And for me, I envision myself being successful because of the hard work and grit that I put into the things that I value. And there's a lot of work that I've had to do the last 7 months or so on myself to figure out, why do I have all these triggers that a lot of them came from childhood? Why do I have those triggers? Where do those triggers come from? How do I overcome my low self-esteem and low self-efficacy and find self-determination to get to a point where I can connect with that higher self, to a place where I feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel? And I've made immense progress on that, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because this is the sugar segment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is tough. You have to work on it day in and day out. There's not necessarily a break. And yes, you need to take time to rest, of course, but overall, you don't necessarily get a break, okay? Now, you shouldn't view it as that. You should try to view it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to construct yourself in a manner to which fits in with your values, with the lifestyle that you actually want to live, and take control. Ultimately, we create our own reality. So it's up to you what you want, and you need to figure out what's holding you back. Well, that is about it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and your energy. I hope there has been some insights that you gained from hearing my experience and having those visceral feelings of reflection, helping you think more and looking within. It is a good thing to listen to other people and what they're doing, because it can raise that self-efficacy and encourage you to take a step of your own. Okay, we're not all the same, but we are the same in a sense. But you're unique. Okay, do what matters to you most, and I believe in you. Okay, if you made it to the end, thank you. I believe in you, and I hope there has been some words of encouragement here that inspire you to take a step of your own. Okay, we're all in this together. I'm here to support you through this journey. Leave a comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, because I would love to engage with you. Okay, so thank you for watching. Alex signing out.